Hi, my name is Tyson from Tyson Rose Makeup Design at Allure Hair and Beauty Devonport. I hope you learned a few makeup tips and tricks at our session, and I want to say thank you for choosing Tyson Rose Makeup Design. This is your at-home makeup tutorial following the steps we took to achieve this youthful everyday makeup look. Alrighty, to start off, we're going to be prepping the skin with moisturiser. So we're going in with a liberal amount of moisturiser over the face to prep the skin for primer. Going in with primer, I like to take a sponge or a brush, dipping into the product and really dabbing that over the face, letting that sink into all the pores. Focus this product around the T-zone of the face first, and then you can kind of blend it out to the rest of the face. The most problematic area on the face is usually the T-zone, so I like to tackle that first before I take the rest of the face. I also like to use my fingertip to melt the product into the skin. So going in with foundation, I like to take a beauty sponge with the foundation on the back of my hand and start working that into the sponge first. Applying the product to the face with the beauty sponge, working it into the skin. Applying this product to the perimeter of the face first, leaving the under eyes out of the picture. Just make sure you blend the foundation down your neck also, just so there's no harsh lines and it's a better colour match. So now we have a full face of foundation blended and applied. I like to go in with concealer. This concealer is a concealer that's closer to the foundation shade, but that's not too brightening. So I like to take this and really apply that onto any blemishes or imperfections on the face. So just like tapping that on in the problem areas. I like to do this around the creases of the nose, smile line, just any blemishes around the face. Going back in with my foundation sponge, I like to just blend that by tapping it out. And don't be afraid to really get into those side nose creases, just by really pushing that product into the skin. Now just going in with my brightening concealer, I like to place this on the under eye. Just using a small amount, you don't need too much of this. Focusing it right on that darker area. I like to take this on the tip of the chin, tip of the nose, bridge of the nose, and then just on the centre of the forehead. Going back in with our beauty sponge, just tapping that out. Always remember to bounce the sponge over the skin throughout any foundation and liquid makeup steps, just to really pounce it and let it blend into the skin. And it's important when blending out the concealer to really keep it in the area that you placed it, just by doing little bouncing circular motions over that area. Try not to move it and spread it too far around the face, just because you really want to highlight in that certain area. Going into the under eye, I like to blend out the bottom half of my concealer on the under eye first, and then going up into the right eye. Blending out the bottom first again, and then really working it up into the socket of the eye. After blending out the under eye concealer, make sure you stay looking up just to prevent any creasing before we go in with powder. Going in with loose setting powder with a damp sponge, just tapping that into the sponge and applying to the under eye first before they crease. Just really pressing that powder in with a damp sponge really helps to set that foundation and concealer under the eye, but it also melts into the skin, looking more natural. And it really helps the makeup last all day. Taking the powder on the sponge and really just pressing that into the skin to set the rest of the face. And any excess powder on the brush, I'd like to just set that foundation on the neck as well. Then after powder, I like to go in with a setting spray. I like to use setting spray on every step of my makeup routine, in between steps, just to help hydrate the skin as you're applying makeup. This is a nice setting mist, so I just like to lightly mist over the face, just to hydrate in between steps. After the face is completely set with powder, I like to go in with my contour shades. I like to use a small rounded brush to go in with contour, just so we can get the look a bit more precise. Always tap off the excess of your contour, just so it doesn't end up being too harsh. Going in with the contour, I like to start at the temple, at the high point of the cheekbone, using small circular motions to blend out the product. I don't like to drag the contour too low to the corner of the mouth. That usually creates a bit more of a sunken look where we're trying to achieve a bit more of a lifted, sculpted look. So I like to always blend upwards instead of downwards. When blending out your contour, you should really keep your motions very compact, just to keep the product exactly where you place it. I then like to take this contour shade up onto the forehead, keeping it quite close to the hairline, using those same small circular motions. So after we've gone in with contour, I like to go in with my bronzer. I like to go in with my bronzer with quite a large fluffy brush. I usually go in with bronzer after the contour, just to really help blend that edge and further warm up the face. I take this product with the same large circular motion, going over that area of the contour, just to really soften any edges and further warm up the face. The purpose of contour is to really sculpt the face, where this is more to just blend and warm up the face, giving you that sun-kissed glow. I like to take this on the jawline as well, and then slightly blending down the neck. After bronzer, I like to go in with blush, focusing that on the apples of the cheeks and then blending up onto the cheekbone. I like to just really tap this in delicately, just to give the face a little bit more warmth and colour. I like to take a little bit of the excess blush on the brush and just touch that on the tip and the bridge of the nose, just to really tie the face together. So after going in with my contour shades, I like to go back in with my sponge, with the powder on the tip of the sponge, and just taking this product and just cleaning up under the contour, just to reinforce the highlighted areas. For the nose contour, I like to just take a small fluffy brush with a little bit of my bronzer, tapping off the excess, and really just going down the sides of the nose lightly, just to create a bit of dimension. Just going up into the front of the brow, blending as we go along. I then like to go in with a small amount of powder, just dragging that across the sides of the nose to really pinch in that nose and just reinforce those highlights. So while that powder is baking on the skin, I like to move on to eyebrows. Just taking a spoolie and just brush through your eyebrows to just see what you're working with. I'm just going in, taking a little bit of brow pomade on the tip of my brush. This is an angled brush. This is one of my favorite tools to use for brows. Starting at the front of the brow, just taking little hair-like strokes very lightly through the front of the brow. I like to create a little bit of a line at the base, going up into the arch, just kind of filling that area in, dragging it down onto the tail, and just kind of connecting that. To create a nice sharp point at the tip. Try not to pack too much product on the brush at once, because that can create a bit more of a harsh brow. Taking my pointed end of the brush, just creating those little light hair-like strokes at the top of the brow, at the top of the arch, and just working my way lightly towards the front of the brow. I like to just take a spoolie and just further blend that product in the brow. Starting with a small hair-like strokes with the front of the brow, just keeping a very light hand. Start to create a bit of a base line along the bottom of the brow, just blending up into the brow. Always keep a light hand when doing your eyebrows, just so they don't get too harsh. I then just like to go in with my concealer with a flat top concealer brush. And I'm just going to start to sculpt from the underneath of the brow. Starting from the front and just sculpting underneath that brow line. And just kind of patting and dragging that concealer down as you move along. Just using minimal product just to really get as close as you can underneath that eyebrow without going too far up into the hairs. I just like to drag a bit of that concealer down onto the eyelid just to cover any discoloration on the eye. I then just like to go in with a little bit of brow gel just to lay the hairs down where you want them to go and kind of set that brow in place. I like to really comb all the eyebrow hairs up first and then just kind of sculpt that down to where you want it to lay. And now that powder has been baking on her skin for quite some time, I'm just going to take my powder brush and just kind of tap that powder away. And now that powder's been on the skin for quite a little bit, I'm going to go back in with my setting spray just to really let that powder melt into the skin and just hydrate the face. After applying that setting spray, I like to just kind of get my damp sponge and just kind of tap that in. Because the face is still dewy from the setting spray, I like to go in with highlighter. I have like a little rounded fluffy brush that I like to use. I dip in, tap off the excess, and then just really apply that to the very high point of the cheek. Going in with a very small, tiny highlighting brush, I like to tap into my highlighter and then just apply that to the tip of the nose. Going back in with a little tiny highlighting brush, and I like to just place that on the very point of the brow bone and just a little bit on the bridge of the nose. Just going in with a clean makeup wipe in the tip of my finger, and we're just going to clean off that foundation off of the lips. Now we've cleaned off that lip, I'm just going to go in with a bit of a shimmery tinted gloss just to pat over those lips, it kind of enhances the lip colour and then just gives the face a bit of a youthful shimmery glow. And then you can just pat your lips together just to kind of spread out that product. Just going in with mascara, I get my client to look down, kind of lift the eye with your finger and you're just going with your spoolie brush and just kind of work that product in. Doing this step to yourself, I would suggest to have a mirror in hand or focus yourself towards a mirror, tilt your head backwards, go in and just spoolie that product in. Just looking up to the roof, you can go in with your mascara and just kind of gently wiggle that mascara into the lower lash line. To finish off the look, I'm just going to go back in lightly with my setting spray to make sure this sets for the rest of the day. So this is my finished everyday youthful makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed our session and I hope this really helps you to further remember anything that you may have forgotten so you can follow along at home. Thank you so much for choosing Tyson Rose Makeup Design.